Singapore's Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat says it is possible for the world to arrive at another stable global order. Speaking in Tokyo at the 25th International Conference on the Future of Asia, Mr. Heng highlighted how China's rise means that the world is entering into a period of great power rivalry, but it is critical that every country work together to stabilize the system. Brandon Tanoto with more.
The United States and China must work out a new model of constructive cooperation for the world to arrive at another stable global order. But more fundamentally, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat said US and China must rebuild trust in their relationship, which he described as the most important bilateral relationship in the world that is key to continued peace and prosperity globally, adding that it is still possible for the two largest economies to resolve their differences. Mr. Heng said although there are fears that the global order will end up in another Cold War, he stressed that the context of the tensions is fundamentally different from the Cold War of the 1990s. He said back then, the US and the Soviet Union hardly had any trade across the Iron Curtain. Today, the trade flows between the US and China are significant, with the relationship between both countries highly interdependent.
The starting point is to accept new realities. The US needs to adjust to China's emergence as a major global player. The US needs to recognize that while China is a competitor, it is also a valuable partner which can share the responsibility of providing international public goods. More fundamentally, the US has to accept that it has no better option but to work with China, because trying to contain it will result in worse outcomes. Thus, the US should strive for a new equilibrium with China, a new global balance that brings together the legitimate interests of both powers, one that continues to embrace a rules-based multilateral system so that all countries, big and small, will have their voices heard and their sovereignty respected. On China's part, China needs to accept that its increased strategic and economic weight comes with greater international responsibility. So in that regard, China's Belt and Road Initiative, properly executed, is a positive step in this direction. China has said that it will continue to open up. It now needs to convince skeptics. It will do so by accelerating economic liberalization, by leveling the playing field for foreign businesses, and by continuing to participate constructively in efforts to improve the multilateral trading system. China needs to demonstrate that its peaceful rise will indeed benefit the rest of the world, including the US, and be prepared to shoulder additional international responsibilities.
And according to Mr. Heng, all countries do not want to have to pick sides, but instead be able to openly trade, exchange technology, invest in or receive investment from one another. As such, the rest of Asia needs to step up and take on greater responsibility in shaping the global order. He urged Asia to redouble its efforts to strengthen the rules-based multilateral trading system that underpins its growth, as well as to work with the global community to uphold this system. Mr. Heng lauded Japan's role in steering the CPTPP trade deal to fruition after the US pulled out, and called on Japan to exercise the same leadership to bring the trade pact RCEP to fruition.
In fact, I see more room for Japan, the third largest economy in the world, to play a bigger role in deepening regional development and integration. The economic, social and infrastructural needs of developing Asia are tremendous. Japan has invested in excess of US $400 billion in Asia to date. And with this experience, and Japan's huge gross external assets of more than $9 trillion US, Japanese investors can seek out greater opportunities to invest productively, and this will help the region grow and build closer cooperation among countries.
All in, Mr. Heng said the goal for all countries to work together can only be realized if they are part of one globalized system. Take this iPhone for example. It's designed in the US, assembled in China. Screens are from Korea, cameras from here in Japan, and circuit board components from the UK, US and Germany. Now if the world is fragmented into two blocks, supply chains will be disrupted and implicate the global economy. As such, Mr. Heng said it is key for the US and China to work together, with every country coming together to play its part. Brendan Tanoto, CNA, Tokyo.